My name is Ciarán Ó Dochartaigh and I'm an artist and researcher. I make mixed media work ranging from sculpture, drawings, print, moving image. I make a lot of collaborative work as well. It's a big part of the work. The title of the show at the CCA is Ferox. Ferox is a type of brown trout, and it's a very large brown trout that's become predatory and cannibalistic and eats other brown trout and Arctic char. A big part of this exhibition is about sort of personal and political histories. On a personal level, I was really moved and sort of changed forever by what happened to my father. He had his stomach removed. His small intestine was actually turned into a new stomach. That sort of materiality of the stomach is a big part of this project. There's a crossover between the sort of ecological and environmental impact of how we have engaged with nature and his stomach. I also have this enlarged marrow scoop, an instrument used to exhume the stomach contents of a fish to find out what the fish has been eating. So when you place the marrow scoop inside the stomach and remove the contents, you have an idea of what the diet that fish has been on and recently. And then you mimic that with your own flies that you use, so it increases your chances of catching the fish. I just thought these parallels was quite interesting on a personal level and a sort of ecological level. The ceramic colours dictated what other colours I would use. So everything has a knock-on effect to the colours. Elsewhere in the space, I chose quite vibrant pink to frame some of the other works. So you have this vibrancy in the pink and the black table and the grey ceramics against the grey floor, and then you've got these pops of pink throughout the space. It's almost like the pinks become like punctuation marks around the space, or different points of departure onto something else. There's quite a few wood-turned objects that work with the ceramic pieces, and they both work off each other, and they were originally designed to be versions of massage tools, but they've taken their own life or their own sort of process through each other. And there's like a granite bases that are used as a holding device, but also as a practical preparation device for food, for grinding materials. And then there's these different pink sort of objects that are hosted. Different objects are waiting to host different objects and haven't quite managed to host other objects, so they just are there by themselves. The table at the CCA is actually a big chunk of the research. It's actually in two parts at the CCA. But before it was in the CCA, it was actually out on a field trip to Loch Fat East. And it was used there as like a sort of holding space, like a research space that would be used as like this protracted artist talk type work. And the nicest, most interesting part of the event was at dusk, because the wind was coming in, the rain was coming in, it was getting dark, it was like submerged in the water, and there was all these things happening with the lights shining through from underneath and illuminating all the research areas. And there was the flies on top of the table and these different materials that were used to make the flies. So the whole thing sort of came together in this strange event stroke film shoot at the lake. You've got like these sculpture ears, donkey ears and horse ears that hold the microphones. This idea of working with the donkeys and the equine grew out of the residency at Lac de Varsovie in France. As the project evolved, I actually worked with a horse whisperer. It was as much about how we could learn to communicate from the likes of a horse whisperer, how they use the idea of sight and eye contact and a sort of gentle approach to communicating, and not about discipline, but ways of like negotiating and communicating with each other. It's another way to understand how trauma and traumatic experiences can be dealt with and lamented with a different perception.